from your community standpoint, where you grew up, where they were anti-capitalism.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, has to do with the use of marketing tactics and emotions to change people's behavior to purchase products. And Madison Avenue has been famously, great at that for many, many years. Brands can tap into unresolved emotions. Is that true? Maybe past traumas? And if that's the case, is that ethical for them to do that to make a sale?
I think there's a lot of things people do in marketing that aren't ethical. I have no problem criticizing marketing. I don't think that there's a lot of people in advertising that are thinking at that detailed level that I want to tap into somebody's past trauma. They don't really get that deep. They're trying to approach larger numbers of people than that. So I'm not sure that is really true. But what brands do, if you want to know my favorite complaint about brands, a lot of people say that the problem with marketing is that it sort of creates false needs in people. And I think that that's wrong. I think it's much more common, at least today, that marketing exploits needs or desires, I should say, that people have, where the marketing doesn't necessarily invent that want, but it encourages people to indulge themselves in ways that are counterproductive. So junk food is a typical example where, marketing doesn't invent the fact that our brain responds with dopamine when we have fat and sugar.
Yeah.
That's
sugar and salt. I mean, that's the atomic bomb right there.
Exactly. Yeah. Your brain was set up that way a long time before it was advertising, but it does come in and it says, well, if that is what people respond to, let's just supercharge that, right? And we'll give them intense. There's no food in nature in its raw state that is very high in both sugar and fat. There's really fatty foods and there's sweet foods like fruit, but there's not a single natural food that's high in both fat and sugar. But you get them together, and it's I love my cookies, but it's going to have that. People are going to respond in this way that's so strong that it can be detrimental to themselves. Another example is gambling. And gambling has existed, as far back as recorded history, people have gambled. And so it's not invented by, modern capitalism. But look at what's happening now, how prolific it's becoming. And now with sports betting, how prolific it's becoming. And it's just a dopamine pump. The people who are addicted or habitually addicted to gambling, they're not benefiting. They're not better off as people because they're spending time gambling. It's just that some business has found a way to exploit that weakness that they have and is sucking the money right out of them, and what the person gets out of it is excitement, dopamine for a short period of time, and then often a lot of really serious problems. So that's my number one critique. Well, actually, I've got two. That's one. One is the sort of this playing into people's weaknesses, and the other is around environmental issues, where marketing and just business in general, the economic system is set up in a very faulty way. Mm-hmm. So we have built into our economic system an incentive to pollute, and people respond to that incentive. So pollution of all kinds is a cost, right? And most of the times, if you want to eat a chocolate bar, you have to bear all the costs of producing that chocolate bar. And so you're only going to eat that chocolate bar if it benefits you. You think at least it benefits you more than the cost, even though, we just talked about the dopamine. That might not really be true.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of situations where you can get something and get other people to pay a lot of the costs. So when I drive my car, I pay a little bit of the cost for that, but the future generations pay a lot of cost. They're subsidizing me.
Yeah.
To every time I drive my car because of all the pollution's coming out of the car that they're going to have to pay for. And we ought to have a system that says you can't force other people to subsidize your consumption that way, right? If you're going to drive a car, you should pay a tax that covers the cost of repairing the damage that you're doing to the environment. That would be a much more rational system, but politically, that's difficult to achieve.